Ada Ismail Faisal Abdul Malaysia.
My name is Namanya Sarah from Indonesia.
My name is Nur Kairani.
My name is Azul Ibn. Please share to you guys about what is Epic. So Epic is one of the Chongqing GLCs. We are in the oil and gas industry, but we are not the one basically rigging or rigging the oil. We are basically in the upstream and the downstream sectors, but we are on the hot side of the oil and gas industry. So we have 5 core businesses. So we have oil and gas supply and support base. We have port management. We have marine engineering and services, as well as renewable energy. So our businesses are mainly based in Kemaman, meaning to say that our operational premises are in Kemaman. So we have 3 offices. The Kuala Terengganu one would be our corporate office. The Kemaman one would be the operational premises where our businesses are at, and then we have 1 satellite/business premises in Ampang as well. So so that is a little bit about Epic perhaps. So we are pretty much involved in the oil and gas industry, but giving support services to the oil and gas industry players, to Petronas and a few other clients. We call it petroleum arrangement contractors. At the same time, we are managing port, Kemaman Port. If you guys are familiar with Kemaman Port, Kemaman. And then at the same time, we are providing marine engineering services to rigs, vessels, as well as providing some other engineering services to other industry players as well. I think back in 2017, we ventured into renewable energy. Epic Berhad, through its subsidiary, Epic Solar Sinar Berhad, was the first solar farm or energy player in the East Coast. Back then, we had the biggest solar farm in Kemaman back in 2017, 2018. But now, I think the NB has the biggest solar farm. I think the biggest one would be at Kenya. So just a little bit background about Epic Berhad.
Can you share with us your educational background?
Oh, okay. I did my foundation in TESOL, teaching English as a second language. And then I did my degree at BKM doing the English for Professional Communication course.
So I think we would like to start the interview with the first question. What is a typical week like for a PR practitioner?
Personally, if you were to ask me, we don't have a typical week here at Epic Berhad. I think the same goes to other companies as well. I think 1 week we are basically drafting different versions of writings, whether it is press releases, speeches, social media captions, copywriting or content writing, and the next we are on ground managing events, protocols, greeting VIPs. So specifically at Epic Berhad, we have when we're talking about public relations, the scope is pretty much very wide open, very general. We are dealing with different stakeholders, media being one of them, as well as our other stakeholders such as state, VIPs, business partners. So at one spectrum, we are basically the one managing the content production, be it speeches, media releases, captions, be it on social media, on website, and the next will be managing events. So I think events are essential parts of corporate communication department as well. So being in the oil and gas industry, as well as a few other sectors, we do have different kind of things happening every single week. So I would say that those differences, those different habits, or those different works that we are handling are among the things that make the job a lot more interesting, I would say. So if not, it's not a very typical desk-bound job. This job requires you to really be up on the go and keeping us on our toes. So yeah, it's not the same every single week, I would say. One thing for sure, it will involve a lot of information gatherings, speaking to other stakeholders, business partners, because what we want to do is delivering correct information to the public. We are basically the frontliners of information sharing for the company.
For the second question, how has digital media changed the landscape of the PR professions?
Okay. I think digital media is very crucial nowadays, and it is definitely changing the media narration landscape nowadays. I think back then we are heavily relying on mainstream media or traditional media. We are talking about newspaper, we are talking about TV shows or even TV news. But nowadays, with digital media, be it social media, a simple recording, it actually speeds up news sharing process. So it definitely helps us to brand ourselves better in the public, because back then I think we are relying more on waiting our news to be circulated to the public, especially when you're trying to build a brand narration. So with social media, whatever it is that is happening or just happened, you can immediately, with one single click, you can immediately share it over to whoever it is that is following you, or onto your official platforms, social media, website. So it's quick, it's fast, but at the same time, it's very difficult to be controlled, especially if you are in a certain industry that deals with, different kind of news that's affecting stakeholders' perception. So I think that is one of the main reasons why they have PR personnel on board. These personnels will be the ones managing this circulation of news, so that we have one single voice, a statement or news circulation that is really behind the brand that they are representing.
For the next question, how important is writing in your career?
Oh, writing is very important. I would say it's very crucial. I think you guys are PR, studying PR, right? As we may be aware of, I think PR or writing is actually a way of us expressing whatever thoughts we have, messages that we have in our thoughts or in our mind, putting in writings. So again, I'm not saying that it is super duper important, superseding other skills, but it is definitely one of the crucial skill sets when you want to go into comms or PR industry. Because through writing, you guys will be basically delegating information, be it from complex development of your company, trying to simplify things so that the general public would definitely understand your messaging a lot better. A simplest example that I would share with you, when you're talking about, let's say, a contract with oil and gas player, not many people would know the jargons or whatever works that goes behind, the contract that you are basically signing up for or going for. So your piece of writing or your piece of messaging will be determining whether or not your stakeholders are understanding, or the general public are understanding about the messages that you're trying to deliver. So writing is definitely one of the keys. I think nowadays with AI, it is easy for you to write. Everybody can become a writer. But even with AI, it is very important for you to really tailor your messaging down to your very own voice, like your very own corporate style, so that you won't be overwhelmed with whatever output that AI is producing. So I would say it is very important. Writing and knowing how you narrate the story of your brand. So writing is one thing. Again, just like I said before, everybody can write, but truly writing and trying to get the messaging across properly, efficiently, making it as simple as possible, getting the public to understand it better.
So for the next question, it's about ethic in PR. So how do you view ethic in PR, and how should a practitioner handle the ethical in this?
When we're talking about ethics, this value or this concept does not only apply to PR practitioners alone. We are talking about a very massive, massive circle of people, so personnel in the industry, be it journalists, PR practitioners, comm practitioners. So when we're talking about ethics and integrity at the same time, it is very important, because what we want to do is actually, you want to be telling the real narration or the real story behind whatever it is that you guys are doing. I think if I can relate this to, if you guys are familiar to greenwashing, we are big on ESG now. ESG and how people are basically greenwashing things, saying that they are doing great things, but behind the scene they're not really doing great things, right? So similarly, when we are talking or when we are writing things, be it you guys, whether you are in the corporate sector, you guys are with the media industry, nowadays it's very easy. With just one single click, you can simply share news online without checking the true resources, or without checking the clarity, or without doing a proper information verification or clarifying whether or not that information is correct or not. So it's very important, because you want to be sharing a real verified news that you actually source from a reliable source. When we're talking about in corporate context, whatever news that we are circulating outside to the public, to the media, it has to be verified, it has to be approved by the top management. It has to be tabulated, the information has to be tabulated, it has to be listed properly by the right person in charge before we are able to word it properly and circulate it out to the public. So if you are simply plucking points or writing things, grabbing points out of thin air, it is definitely going against the the ethic of writing itself or the PR itself. So again, it's very important. And then especially now we are in the world of internet, we can simply write things that are untrue and then put it out to the public, and then surprisingly we have so many people believing that. I think even now with the current geopolitical situations, there are a lot of people who can simply believing whatever facts or whatever news that they found online on TikTok especially. So yeah.
Alright, so Mr. Limi, how do you measure the success of your PR campaign, and what metric or tools do you use in the digital era?
With Epi Berhad, because we are not as we do measure our PR campaigns, but it's not as maybe detailed as other companies in the Client Valley. I think for us it's more about the engagement we have, because for now we are looking at a few simple metrics. One of it will be impressions. Second one will be the engagement. Engagement mainly will be on our social media post. How many people are basically reacting, be it liking, sharing, or commenting on our social media post. Reach. We are also looking at the ROI from whatever news coverage we have from our media partners. So we do circulate our press releases to our media fraternity, media friends. So from there we will be checking how much each news coverage would be valued at. And then we are either using the social media or media tracking tools. But for social media, we are using Facebook for Business. We are using Google Analytics. So by tabulating all this data, we will be able to determine whether or not our campaigns or content that we push out to the public or online are successful or not.
Okay. Would you tell us 3 tips to offer to someone that just starting in PR?
Okay. I think the 3 main tips that I would share would be work on your basics. Basics, I would say the 4 core skills: reading, writing, listening, and then speaking. Yep. I think whether you like her or not, at any point in time of your career, later on, once you have stepped into the career world, you would be required to speak to people, listen to people, translating those ideas or whatever point of exchange you have into writing, and then of course trying to translate that into your job. So by working on these 4 skills, I think it would definitely help you to excel a lot better, or if let's say you want to be a PR professional, then it would help you to become a very good PR professional. I'm not saying that one skill is better than the other, but at least you need to have mastery over these things. Because I do understand that, because I am an English language student myself. I don't like writing. I like speaking to people, but I think whether you like it or not, you have to write. You have to know how to write. You need to know how to express your idea. You need to know how to listen, and then you need to know how to translate those ideas that you have in mind, and then communicating those ideas to people. Number 2 is be passionate, and know how to be passionate and be curious with whatever trends that we have in this current industry. I just talked about AI earlier. I think I have no qualms against AI. AI is AI tools are amazing, but it is good for you to not be overwhelmed by AI tools. It is good for us to use AI tools, but not let AI tools use us. Meaning to say you can churn out ideas, you can produce contents from AI, but it is important for you to know what it is that you want to achieve or attain from AI.
Do you use 100% AI?
Yep. I would encourage my team to use AI, but at the end of the day, if I were to ask you to write something out of the blue without using the internet, without using anything at all at hand, using only your skills, I would want you to be able to write exactly the same as you are using AI tools. Yep. So, because again, we have different sets of generations. We do have people who used to work or used to thrive without AI then, and they are able to survive up until now. You can just imagine what the world would be without AI, right, at one point in time. So you need to be able to survive without AI helps. So again, use AI, but do not get overwhelmed by AI as well. Use it to your advantage. Use that to supplement whatever skills that you have at hand, so that you can be seen better in front of others, be it in interviews or at your job. Number 3 would be networking. Again, I stress this one a lot to my interns. When you are networking with others, you are basically building these connections that would definitely help you in the long run. So some people call it capable, some people call it knowing others, but networking, getting to know other, be it in the same industry, those of the same position or those of higher levels, would definitely help you to escalate or move a step further from others. So just network. Use LinkedIn, use whatever official platform that you have. Network professionally, tell them whatever intention that you have. Of course, to build up your portfolio, to polish your skills, to get to know the industry better, so that at one point in time, let's say, I think if you're talking about the PR situation, like yesterday we met one of the PR, one of the mainstream media personnel in Terengganu, and he kept on insinuating, or he kept on saying that we need to get to know the media practitioners here in Terengganu. You need to basically jaga them. It's not about jaga as in, we need to keep them right on our sides. So you need to keep them close, because when you are basically keeping them close, they can do you many favors. So let's say when you're a PR personnel working for a company, one of the things that you would work on would be getting news coverage. So if you're good, if you have good relationship with media partners, I think it's pretty much very easy for you to get news coverage as well. So networking will help you go places, I would say that.
He has to maintain good relationship.
Yeah.
It's not only media, stakeholders,
stakeholders.
because it's a PR.
So networking. So now I think you guys are still fresh. Just go out there and introduce yourself. Do not be shy. Do not be
In the PR, you cannot be shy.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would say that they are extroverted. It's okay to be introverted. It's okay to be introvert, but at the same time, you need to know when is the right time for you to go outside of your bubble, be different from your introverted version of yourself, because that situation would demand you to be at one point in time in your career, at one point in time in life later on.
Okay, so for the last question, how do you handle challenge and crisis in PR? And can you give example what crisis is?
I think there are a few ways of us handling, because we do have different style of managing the crisis as well as challenges. Challenges, of course, I think many of us, our natural reaction would be panicking. I think the most important thing for us to not to panic. It is something that is bound to happen one way or another. For crisis per se, I think we do have our crisis communication team. So whenever a crisis arises, what we would do, we would sit down, we would go through our crisis communication plan. We do have a spokesperson, we do have people representing different angle of crisis communication, be it from legal, from operation point of view, from customer service point of view, stakeholders communication point of view. So by having these people, by gathering all the relevant information, I think that would help you prep your communication or your messages better. Because when we are talking about crisis communication or crisis handling in PR point of view, the public or the stakeholders or whoever it is involved in this crisis wants to know what it is that you are doing to solve the crisis. They probably don't want to know why that happened, but they want to know what is the next course of action that you guys are doing to resolve that situation. I think many of us are caught up of trying to find justification to why, or providing reasoning to why that happened, without even thinking of the real context of the situation that the public wants to know what you guys are really truly doing to actually resolve that. The second part would be no reaction is actually a reaction, if you guys are well aware. Sometimes when crisis happen, when your brand names get stained or get mentioned, people demand you to give them explanation, but sometimes you need to keep it low and not reacting too much to it and let it simmer down. Only then you will be giving out certain statements, announcement to actually rectify the situation, and not doing it at the heat of the moment, or else it will cause a lot more triggering response from the public. I think for us at Big Berhad, I might not be able to get into details because some of the situations would be very PNC, very much PNC. But in the oil and gas industry, I think we would heard news of incidents happening on rigs in the port areas. So what we would do would be trying to figure out what exactly happened, whether the situation is happening, whether it is stemming from our end, or we're dealing with contractors, or we're dealing with whoever parties that are involved in that incident as well. So, but I think we are big on trying to provide context to what we are doing to solve that. Yeah, I can provide you some of the details of what happened in my earlier years, not with Epic Berhad especially. I think when I was with my previous company, we had this one crisis happening in Indonesia. We have a business counterpart in Indonesia, so we have a plantation business. So one of the businesses, Malaysia-based business, I think they have Indonesia counterparts. They were involved in this massive wildfire. So that was when Indonesia government was suing a few other players who happened to be involved or having that plantation business in Indonesia. So news circulating, there were so many news about, there were names being mentioned of those companies in Indonesia that were involved. So what we would do then, I think we were doing fact checking whether or not we are the one who started the wildfire or whether it is the other business counterparts. And it turned out that it wasn't us starting the wildfire, but they were gunning toward us, or they were basically suing us for not having proper fire prevention facility at our premises of our Indonesia counterparts. So it is very important for you to be level-headed, to really wait for the real facts to come in first, point those or connect those dots before you are reacting to it. So that is very important. Do not panic, do not react for the sake of arguing, but react for the sake of solving or providing a real, genuine response to the public, or else you won't be able to resolve their anger out. You will definitely have people trolling, leaving cynical remarks, but at the end of the day, our actions that we want to do, I mean the objective that we want to achieve is actually to resolve the situation, trying to de-escalate it instead of escalating it further. Because we do have different law regulations, we are talking about different laws, different authorities. We are talking about cross-border, what I call it, crisis incident, and then it was during COVID as well. But the Epic Berhad so far, whatever crisis that we have had experience so far, very much manageable. It doesn't require us, they don't require us to really go out there and trying to do a PC press conference. They are manageable to the extent that we just need to manage it internally. Yep. Thankfully.
So that's all the question given.
Interview for today.
So if you guys have other questions, feel free to do so. If it is not related to your assignment, you can ask as well. We are more than happy to answer, of course.
So during our interview with Epic Company, we get that PR work is always changing. And that's what makes it exciting. So one week we might be writing speech or social media content, and the next we're managing events, working with media and stakeholders. So because of this, we need to be more flexible and ready for anything. And at the same time, digital media has made PR much faster. Like we can share information instantly, but this also means we must be more careful because once something is posted, it's really hard to control. So that's why writing is so important, because we have to make it clear and simple message can help the public understand us. Even with AI, we still need to think, edit, and make sure everything fits with our organizations. And this also connect with ethics. In PR, we must always share true and accurate information. And being honest can build trust, and the trust is the key to being a good public relations. And lastly, to achieve all of this, we need strong communication skills, stay curious, use tools like AI, but use it wisely, and build good relationship with others. And when a crisis happens, all these skills come together. We need to stay calm, check the fact, and communicate clearly to protect trust and find solution. So that's all what we got during our interview with Epic Groups. Thank you.